So yeah, they had the Bloodline 2.0 came out, and Tongaloa had to sit this one out.
Who would have thought he would have been the odd man out, huh?
And I don't agree with it. I think that Jacob
thought it-
Fatu should have been the odd man out.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, because of the way the finish, because how the finish happened. I think that Jacob Fatu should have been the X factor with it.
Okay. Yeah, I can see why you. Yeah, that makes sense. And then it's weird to split up the tag team, especially like you're the tag team champions. Like, would you have split up the Usos back in the day? Like, well, they're not the tag team champions anymore, but they just were.
Right.
Right. So it's like, would you split up the Usos? Would you split up the New Day? Really? If it was only two people, like, yeah. Would you split up Pretty Deadly? Absolutely not. That's two peas in a pod,
so
baby.
the other interesting thing, two tasty snacks in a wrapper.
Yeah.
The other interesting thing was, and I can understand why they did it, was Jimmy and Roman came out together, and then Jay did his own thing. And Jay was over with that crowd, man. Like,
yeah. Would you split up Ringside Renaissance? Absolutely not.
No.
Only as long as you don't call soda pop.
The package deal.
Yeah.
So you can't have a D without the P. You know what I mean?
Think about that one.
Yeah. Ringside Renaissance is and will forever be a best duo in podcasting.
Yes. Oh, yes.
The best duo.
Ever. Yeah.
But when Jay came out, it's almost sounded like he got a louder pop than Roman did.
Yeah.
Like,
I agree.
The crowd was just they were eating it up, man. He was really just going, and
yeah.
Boy, this match wasn't a 5-star classic, shout out Uncle Dave, but like, I think that it did what it needed to do to progress this story.
Right. I thought it was a good match. A lot of people online were like we're kind of trashing it because they think like Roman kind of got beat down the whole match, right? I mean, technically he did at the end too, but I think it's what they needed to do. You can't just have Roman come back and be like his old self, exactly the same old self. Like, especially if he's coming back to be somewhat babyface, he's gotta take a beating.
Yeah,
and then
they're telling a story. They're telling a story in like humility right now. Like, Roman Reigns is trying to humble himself through this whole thing, right? Because he was the tribal chief for so long, the champion for so long, did it on his own. So then for him to humble himself to tag with Cody.
Yep.
And then realize, like, okay, I need a little bit of help. And then Jimmy, and then needing Jay's help. And now eventually looks like going down the line, needing Sammy's help. It's just Roman. The story being told is Roman kind of humbling himself and realizing he's not like he needs people.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And it's cool because like he didn't just come back like that either. Like, he's slowly got to learn that and get beat down to get there, to slowly humble himself and go through all these trials and tribulations of the bloodline to realize that he needs it too. So I guess it's better for the storyline too that they're kind of dragging it out like that. Yeah. But I thought it was a good match for what it was. I'll say it again. I am not a fan of the damn Samoan Spike, especially to end a match like that. Like, after all these moves, and then you're just gonna pop somebody with your thumb. Like, there's other places you could stick that thumb. Like, that would.
Oh, he probably did before the match. That's why it's so devastating. Like, you know what I mean? That thing is probably, that's not brown tape. It was white before he started. But no, I thought it was interesting teasing like Jay when going to tag.
Yeah.
In the corner and not tagging Roman, tagging Jimmy back and forth. And they finally got the Jay and Roman tag. Little things building the trust back up in the family and stuff. Little nuances they do in the match.
And Michael Cole.
The finish of the match.
Yeah, Michael Cole was doing a good job, like, explaining that too, of him not tagging Roman to be like, you don't call the shots. Corey Graves too. You don't call the shots anymore. Like, you don't tell me when I'm gonna tag you in. Like, I'm gonna tag my brother. Yeah, and they did that through the whole match, and it did build some heat a little bit there too. Almost for a second for Jay, it's like, what are you doing, Jay? Like, you're almost letting it get the better of you for a second too. Yeah.
Storytelling within the match, man. That's what.
Yeah.
The way that pro wrestling is today, that it's great to have like these fucking dream matches and everything else, but telling the story within the ring, like, I am really big on that. So, and it told a perfect story. But what I didn't like was the referee got bumped, got knocked down. This was the finish. Tongaloa came up on the apron and just got knocked down. And then Jacob Fatu jumped up and hit Roman, and that's what got him kind of dazed for the Samoan spike in the 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
So in the confines of like a 6-man tag, the referee didn't need to take the bump because Tongaloa didn't actually really get involved.
Mm-hmm.
So for Jacob Fatu to come up and hit Roman and cause him to get into the Samoan spike and stuff, I thought that Jacob should have been the odd man out because the referee bump, then Jacob comes in, makes his presence known, Solo gets the win, and it shows that they can't do it alone. But Tongaloa didn't really have much of an impact on the match for the referee to have taken a bump.
Yeah, not at all. And Fatu was going off the match. I'll give him that. He was going off. He was messing everybody up. Jay seemed like he had the most luck against Jacob Fatu. Like they made him seem strongest against Jacob Fatu with like super kicks because everybody else super kicking. I'm doing this, and he was just like no selling it almost half the time, right? But yeah, the finish, the Samoan spike, like I said, blah. But it was kind of like a gasp moment at the end, like oh my god, like the air kind of went out of the building for a second, like. Solo just pinned freaking Roman. Like Roman just took, he took 2 Samoan spikes and then he just pinned, and it's just like, oh shit, like what just happened here, you know? But I thought it was
needed
good
to be done though.
Yeah, absolutely.
It needed to be done because, like you and I have talked about, what do they have to fight for if Roman's bloodline keeps winning?
Yeah,
there needs to be that disconnect where they need to bring in more. And more got brought in because after the match, Bloodline 2.0 was beating up the Usos and Roman Reigns, and then we got a little bit of help along the way.
Oh, let's go!
Oh,
let's go!
Let's go!
Sami Zayn, baby!
The place was unglued, man. They freaking loved it. And he came out and he was doing the will they, won't they?
Yeah.
And they had the will they, won't they? Like, is he going to join Solo Sikoa here? Is he going to help out the bloodline? And he drew his line in the sand. And
and if you thought Sami Zayn is over, like wherever, he's even more over in Saudi Arabia. Like, they went crazy for him. Yeah,
it was big.
Yeah.
So then they had Solo Sikoa in the middle of the ring, and the Usos and Roman and Sammy were like all in the corners. I felt like we were watching Ninja Turtles where they did the 4-way shell, like smash.
He was surrounded. Surrounded.
Yeah, and a haluva kick and a spear and a ducking Solo Sikoa and a big misunderstanding and sowing the seeds. This story is being told, man. And
yeah. At first, I was like,
a lot of people are saying it's dragged out, but.
Yeah, I don't think it's dragged out. What else are they going to do? Come on. Like, they keep making it fresh and new and going into Raw. They're doing what they got to do. Yeah. But, the haluva kick, it's like, come on. Like, you had to see that coming, Roman. Or Sammy, you had to see Roman coming on the other side of Solo. But they got to do what they got to do for the story. I get it.
Well, if they're on either side of Solo, does anyone really see the other one coming?
Fair enough. Solo played it off great when he got out the ring too. He's like, ha 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 ha. Like he's gold. Solo is becoming very. He's coming out of his shell even more. Hopefully, we'll get one of his emoji dances someday that he used to do. As his TikToks back in the day before he was Solo. What a character!
Oh, the big meat and potatoes of Raw. Sami Zayn came down to the ring to try to explain his actions of what happened at the Crown Jewel.
Yeah, what a moment. What a moment.
Ugh.
Sammy's totally over. Yeah. Everybody already forgave Sami.
Yeah. I think everybody with half a brain could see that obviously it was supposed to be inadvertent, but...
Yeah. Jimmy don't think so. Yeah.
Jimmy don't think so, man.
No. He comes down mad, looking like he's still the heel. Mad look on his face.
Yeah.
You ain't family still. Like, trying to convince Jay. Jay is still over. Yeah. I still agree. Jay was way more over than Roman Reigns is. At least there.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just... Tell me, Uce, did you mean to do it or not? It's like, okay, what is he on tribal court again? Like...
That's what he's saying. He's like, I'm not doing this shit. I'm not doing this shit again. I ain't part of y'all shit. Like if you don't believe me, screw y'all. Like take it or leave it. I'm apologizing. Like it was a mistake. Go back and watch the tape. Like come on. It's like they don't got replay. Like they can't go watch the replay. Like
Yeah, right.
does it look like you don't think you could have just hit him before that? Like come on, Jimmy. Come on, Jimmy. Come on. Forget about it.
Come on. Oh boy, I don't know.
Hell of a moment though.
They have
Crowd
to drag
has
this out a
been
couple more weeks.
yeah, they gotta, yeah. And it's not bad that they're doing it because it's kind of builds a suspense more with it for Sammy, and it's gonna make the moment even better and greater once they finally all reunite. But you had it during Crown Jewel at the end, and then you had it last night for Monday Night Raw. The crowd, chanting Sammy Uso, and they want to feel Ucey again. They want everybody to be Ucey again, and Sammy, it was a pretty heartfelt moment too, talking about the past and talking about kind of felt like old times and some of the best times of his life. And yeah, it was good. It was a good moment.
Like I said,
I
for
liked
one
it.
moment in the ring with all four of us together, which I hate how they're excluding Solo out of all this. It felt like we were all back together, but Solo was a part of them too. But
yeah,
they got to do what they got to do, I guess. But
yeah.
Obviously they're just slow burning this. This is obviously going to be a thing. And then Jay tells Sammy, "Hey, why don't you come to SmackDown Friday and we can all talk together?"
Yeah.
And we've been saying this since fucking what, like May or June, that this was going to be a thing.
Or,
Like
we've
been behind Sami Zayn coming back for a long time.
That's the biggest thing. That's what they need. Like that's going to put it over completely. And because we haven't had the bloodline with Sami Zayn like in the past, like over as baby faces. So to put them over like that, it's going to be even bigger moment, and they're going to have even funnier moments and segments, and whenever it's going to be a tear jerker once Roman finally lets his emotions go with it too with Sammy, and forgives them, and they forgive each other because, oof, they had some tension there, leading up to that elimination chamber and all that. What had happened at the Royal Rumble and all that craziness, like. Man, it's going to be good. Good moment. And Jay had to remind Jimmy that family isn't always about it just being your blood. Sometimes it's who's got your back and who's there for you. And Sammy was there. He was ride or die, man.
And Sammy said, like, Jimmy, you and I were cool first. Like,
yes, yep.
You were the one that brought me in. You were the one, like, Jay didn't like me, Roman didn't like me. You were the one that trusted me. Like, yeah, a lot of seeds being planted there. I can't wait until Roman asks Sammy if he's feeling Ucey.
Yeah. Oh,
that's gonna fucking blow the whole arena up. Roman's gonna say that to him. Hey, Sammy, are you feeling Ucey? Like, you know it's coming.
Oh yeah, and he's not gonna be able to keep his emotions either. Like that was great about like going back to them doing all those segments, the Ucey segment and all that stuff back in the past, because it was almost like watching Saturday Night Live because they couldn't keep their cool because they're trying to like hide their face because at random times they couldn't keep it together. And what's better than that?
It's gonna be a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the Bloodline Tribal Court, I guess. We've been saying this for weeks now, and I keep being wrong, but I think this is where Paul Heyman comes back.
Yeah.
The wise man coming in and telling Roman that Sammy's part of this.
At some point. Yeah, he's got
like it makes sense.
Yeah. And it kind of makes a little sense now, leaving that they've left Paul out of it somewhat, because when you think about it, like Roman Reigns, before he became like the tribal chief and did all that type of stuff, he wasn't over, and people were always very critical, and rightfully so, that he wasn't very great on the microphone, right? And then he kind of becomes a tribal chief, and Paul Heyman comes and he takes off and his stock goes up and he becomes much, much better, right? So I think he still has somewhat to prove on the microphone by himself now as this new Roman Reigns, that he can hold his own by himself on the microphone without having Paul come back and carry it for him too also, though. Because let's face it, like he's over now, and he will always be over now because of his whole championship run and everything that he did. But you got to remember, Paul was there the whole time, and Paul's not going to be there for the rest of Roman Reigns' career. So Roman's got to be able to prove that he can hang now on the microphone without Paul.
Yeah,
but we need Paul. But we need Paul back, though. Of course.
Yeah, I think just like the tribal court where they went after Sami and everything else. And Paul was the one like pulling the strings mostly with that, and kind of on the witch hunt, if you will, for Sami being like not part of the bloodline. I think it needs him to kind of cement to everybody that Sami is a part of this.
Right.
Because who else does Roman listen to? Roman's been listening to Jimmy a little bit and Jay and whatever, but Roman listens to his wise man, and if nothing else, the wise man coming and saying that this is a good idea, I think that's what will put Roman over the top,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so there you have it. That was
do you
Crown
think that
Jewel.
Roman has to prove himself somewhat on the microphone still without having Paul Heyman there?
Yeah, I can see that. I think he's been doing okay with it.
Yeah.
I think his inflection and stuff is a lot better than just say like the big dog Roman Reigns days. Like that was really
it's really he's come rough to come a long way since then. Yeah, true. Yeah.
I agree. And I
John
agree
Cena
with saying,
blowing him up. Yeah.
Oh Jesus, but yeah, I agree with what you're saying in that he needs to kind of prove himself, but I don't really foresee a Roman Reigns wrestling career going too much longer.
Yeah, that's what I was also thinking. And I'm saying that he's going to have to be there the rest of his career. Yeah, how long before he retires, or you kind of want to go out on top, or at least from being a weekly, superstar. But I think it also helps Roman get over more as a babyface now if he's able to speak more for himself rather than having to have Paul speak for him. But to have Paul part of the group is going to be gold, of course.
Yeah, and to see like a babyface Paul Heyman would be fucking awesome because he's always managed like heels, like Lesnar, Punk, and then Roman.